My name is Bob Didier. I'm the Director of Bands at Drake University. I'm a past president of the Iowa Bandmasters Association. And most importantly, right now, I'm functioning as the first husband of IBA. So I'm really excited about that. I'll tell you a story. It was a couple of years ago at the first Iowa Band Conductors Forum. We were in the middle of a session, and all of a sudden there was a cell phone ringing. And everybody was scurrying around looking for where that cell phone was. And it turned out to be the cell phone in my bag. So this is one time I would like to make sure that everybody gets their cell phones out and turns them off. And that's why I'm doing this, so I remember to turn it off. 4 years ago, then President Tony Darmo had a wonderful brainstorming idea. We thought that what we needed to do as a part of our conference was to bring young conductors to the conference, give them the opportunity to conduct an ensemble, and to have feedback from some of the best conductors in our profession. That has now gone on. This is the 4th annual event. So I want to make sure that we all acknowledge and thank Tony Darmo for his wonderful thoughts that have brought this to our conference. The group that you see sitting before you is from Iowa City West High School. They are the Wind Ensemble, and their director, Rob Med. Would you please help me welcome them? About 20 years ago, as I was beginning my conducting journey at the University of North Texas, there was a guest clinician there. His name was Jack Stamp. We all, I think, in our profession, honor and revere him for his great compositional prowess, all the pieces that he's given to us over the years, and sometimes, we think of Jack Stamp as being fanfare man. Jack Stamp is far more than fanfare man. What he has brought to this profession is great music, great art, and what most people don't know about that is that he is a fantastic conducting pedagogue. Recently, I had the opportunity to speak a little bit about Jack, and he was one of the people most responsible for teaching me my craft so that I could produce art as a band conductor. I have nothing but the greatest respect for him. He is world-renowned for all of the attributes that he does, and if you notice today that he has recently retired, so he is no longer wearing a tie at these types of events. Would you please help me welcome my good friend, Dr. Jack?
You might have been here when I was talking to the band. The problem is with conducting, we can't take our instrument home for practice. We practice to recording, and man, do they play well, but they don't follow us very well, do they? I told the band how important they are to this process, because they need to react to the conductors. Now, why is conducting important? And it really doesn't have to be important to me anymore because I'm retired. I think it's important because we're the only medium, the only musical medium or art medium that gets in front of the product, the final product. In other words, if you go to an art museum, the artist is not painting the artwork while you're there. It's already there. If you go to a play, the director of the play is not on stage doing anything. But for some reason, in this art form, we're on stage with the large ensemble. Therefore, conducting has to mean something. There's no greater disturbance in the quality of an ensemble than a conductor who gets in the way. No ensemble can grow above the inadequacies of their conductor. Now, I've heard a lot of ensembles who could be a lot better if the person in front of them were gone. Right, see, I'm retired, I can say something. I was going to, actually, Bob's going to be upset, and so is Brad Ginevro, which I hope you go to his session. You might have to leave mine to go to his, but they're really sad because my last year of teaching, which was this year, my last clinic was going to be your band stinks and it's your fault. Think about that a minute. I knew I wouldn't heavily recruit for my university if I gave that speech. But it is really about our teaching and our ability to create music with the ensemble. My concern, and I'm going to talk about this at the keynote speech tomorrow, is that too many of us teach band. And not enough of us teach music. And that series that GIA has, which I don't care if you buy or not, but the title, Teaching Music Through Performance and Band, that's really what we're supposed to be doing. Some of us teach band really well. We just don't teach music very well. So what happens is our students graduate and they have nothing to pursue because there is no band activity for them, because they love the activity of band. They didn't learn to love music. I think part of that has to be how you communicate with the students. Not just verbally, but non-verbally. And if you're telling them everything to do, rather than showing them what you think they should do musically. That's why the title of this is kind of from meter to music. And that's how you become the best conductor. Carol, did you guys get that? You got that?
We got it.
Yeah, you shouldn't be late, man. Wouldn't it be great that one of the few band directions I know in the state comes in late? It's great. Anyway, so one of the first things is to baton or not to baton. That is the question. So how many of you use a baton to conduct your ensembles? How many do not? Okay. Then I want to know why you don't and why you do. My feeling is that a baton is the focal point. And for a large ensemble, it unifies where they are. Unlike choir, you say, well, choir conductors have big choirs. They use their hands. They don't use batons very often. Yeah, but you notice that all the tenors are together. All the basses are together. They're never far from their own part. And they're usually only 4. I mean, I know there are 8-part choir parts, but usually SATB. So there's not an idea that this bassoonist has to stay in time with the 3rd clarinetist. And they can't hear each other. Where's the focal point? Well, the focal point's here. So I use a baton with large groups, especially when you have 26 different parts spread throughout the stage. Choir's different. I also say if they're holding an instrument, I should be holding an instrument. If they're not holding an instrument, then it's okay. I'm not holding an instrument. And if you say, this is again my I'm retired nanny nanny boo boo, if you say I can be more expressive without a baton, I would say then practice with your baton more. So the point being is your baton then, or are your hands delivering the message of the music? So what is a conductor's role? What's a conductor's role? Brandon? Said you got to conduct? What's the conductor's role?
Leading and motivating.
Leading and motivating. I like that. In the leading part, what's your job? Anybody? Great. You guys have degrees in music and you're teaching. Right? You're just like your students. You're afraid you're going to be wrong. So you're not going to answer.
Tempo.
Yeah, be broader.
Expression.
Sure, that's motivation, in a kind of motivation. What I think our job is to do is to facilitate their experience and make their job easier, number one. Because if I'm in the way of their ability to play, then it's a lost cause. So I facilitate their experience, whether that's technical, tempo, whether that's musical, expression, I'm facilitating their ability to play, that because I'm in front of them, it is easier for them to play. That's the first one. Because it's not about you. It's not about the conductor. It's about the music. See, we kind of forget that too. So, what else? Do you have any other responsibilities?
To communicate the expression or the intent of the score.
Yep, I agree with that. And that was that's kind of interpretation, expression, right. Do you have any commitment to anybody else in the room?
The audience.
Sure you do. The audience. Not that I'm conducting for the audience, but in some ways I'm giving the audience a roadmap when I'm conducting the piece of what they should be listening to. Now, I'm not totally thinking about that I'm doing this for the audience, but my point is that if they're watching, if the audience is watching the conductor, they should be able to understand the direction and the flow of the piece. Well, if you don't have good technique, that isn't going to happen. I always ask the students in my tests, my conducting tests, good technique automatically allows for expressive conducting, true or false? False. Good technique allows the students to know where they are in their music. True. So good technique, a lot of times, helps the organization of the music. If you can be expressive with your technique, then you have an attempt, or you can have an attempt to influence how the music's going to sound and project off the stage. So whether you use a baton or not, I'm not concerned right now. If you use a baton, do not be praying mantis. Or I call it Joe Cocker, right? Love me if does not wear we. You don't even know who that is. Or that's a T-Rex, of course. You know that. And I just discovered, it took me 25 years to discover it. If you're holding a baton, put it between your middle finger and your index finger, just like that. See where the bulb is. And then slide your index finger over top. That's how you should hold the baton. Not like this. If I hold the baton like this, you're getting the show. Right? What are they following? They're not following this, they're following this. That's why, if I was conducting this group, I would back this up about there, so I can get you without being 180 degrees. So the baton should point at the group. Extension of the arm. The wrist always moves in conducting. The wrist always, if you walk away with anything today, the wrist always moves in conducting. Look at that. That's about as expressive as a lumberjack conductor. Hope none of you were lumberjacks in the summer job. The wrist always moves. It just doesn't go past parallel. That's the problem. We get these dipsy doodles that do this. And Bernstein, you know, when he was Bernstein, he's allowed to do that. We are mortals. We are mortals. Bernstein did that in front of a 7th grade band and go, what's he doing? Bernstein couldn't conduct a 7th grade band. Wrist always moves, it just doesn't go past parallel. Then you add these hinges. No one ever taught me this. I just had to watch people conduct. So if I'm thinking the hardest gesture heaviest gesture I can make, pesante, then I'm going to initiate it from the shoulder, and this hinge is going to be involved, and this hinge is going to be involved. It's this. Now the problem is, we tend to conduct like we were bouncing a basketball. That as hard as we come down is as hard as we go up. We have a tendency to do this. Well, that's not pesante. That's really called flailing. Flailissimo. So, if you think about pesante, give me a word. Don't say peasant-like or I'll slap you. Yeah, peasant-like. Yeah, like we all grew up as peasants. What does pesante mean? Heavy? Give me another word.
Noble.
Maybe majestic.
Noble.
Noble, maybe.
Weighty.
Pardon?
Weighty.
Weight. Weight. Heavy. So, to show weight and heaviness, is the note longer or shorter? Longer, sure. Well, then if you conduct a weighted gesture like this, How long was the note?
Not long enough.
Excellent. I call it the Wile E. Coyote move. Everybody know who Wile E. Coyote is? The older people do. You guys know who Wile E. Coyote is? Remember when Wile E. Coyote would run and he'd get over the cliff and his eyes would go, oh, and he'd go, boom! And then the camera would go, what would you see at the bottom? Poof. Right. Wiley wouldn't go boing. He wouldn't be on Acme Springs. So that's Pesante. Poof, 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 poof. It's pretty easy. Now, if you think about controlling rebound, that's what we don't do very well. All downbeats are downbeats. All beats are down. So if you think about that, poof, poof. Notice it's coming from here. Now I'm going to take out the shoulder. And notice the rebound increases just a little bit. That's marcato. Pesante, like I'm playing big chords on the piano. I take out the shoulder, just use here, marcato. I take out the elbow, just use my wrist, staccato. Now what's interesting about staccato as far as ictus and rebound?
Equal.
Pardon?
Equal?
Equal. Go to the head of the class, young lady. She gets the prize, Bob. What does she win? Bob, what does she win?
It's dinner with you tonight.
Hope you like a quarter pounder, baby. Okay. The golden arches for you and me. Hey, Iowa Bandmaster's expense account. Anyway, right. The ictus and the rebound are exactly the same. The other thing is this with staccato. Look at the difference between this and this. What happens? What's the difference? I don't know if you readily tell. The baton stops. In this, the baton kind of keeps moving. Here, the baton stops, and then goes to the next spot. So, why does it stop? Because staccato stops. Ictus and rebound are the same. Now, legato is different. And I couldn't figure out, you remember in conducting classes, maybe you younger people had really good conducting teachers. But a bunch of us had the old school conducting teacher that just went, do it like this. Be smooth. And your only cue for the left hand was, da 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 da, yeah! Give me a cymbal crash, I can nail that every time. So, point being is, controlling these hinges. So if you think about legato as being not all the energy to the tip. So in all these aggressive, pesante, marcato, staccato, all the energy goes to the tip of the stick. Like you were trying to get something off the end, like it was flicking it off the end of the stick. Legato was just the opposite. These hinges act in chain reaction. So, if I put the chain reaction pretty close together, it's this. Notice the tip's not where the energy is. The tip's the last thing to go. Now, if I start spreading them out a little bit, so now they're reacting a little bit slower to each other. Notice what happens when I did that. All right, so I'm like this. This is your immovable do legato. Dee, da, 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 dee. This is linkage posing legato. Da, dee, da. Notice the rebound gets compressed. Why? Because these take longer to react, so I can't keep them up in the air, because then I start doing this. So you have to compress rebound. You compress rebound for loud gestures, you compress rebound for legato gestures. So that these are, and it's like a baseball pitcher. I love watching pictures of Sandy Koufax pitch. Because if you think about a slow motion pitcher, and by the way, I went to the Iowa Cubs yesterday, and there was a pitcher who pitched both right-handed and left-handed. It was so cool. So cool. Anyway, he could be a good conductor, I bet, too. What was I saying?
Andy Koufax.
Yes! Slow motion. If you watch slow motion, what happens is everything starts to go back, but then the elbow starts to come forward. But the ball and the forearm are still going back. And then the forearm starts to go forward. This is still going back. And finally, then it all releases, so it's the same thing. So if I'm doing slow, my arms are starting in. My baton is still over there. Now I start to push this way. This is still going this way. Now the wrist shifts. This is still going this way. The rest of this is going that way. And then the tip goes behind. That is, again, these hinges being released separately. That's how you do legato. Then we can talk about a whole group of left-handed exercises. But we have conductors that are going to conduct for you and be guinea pigs so we all can learn. Because this is about us, not about them. So would you welcome Aaron to conduct satiric dances? Yeah, you guys might want to cover something there so far up front. If you can't see the conductor, you might want to scoot around. I don't care where you sit, but you don't have to sit there like you're in church, even though it's the pastoral center. Aaron, tell us who you are.
I'm Erin Marr. I'm the director at Davenport Assumption. It's my second year there.
one's music stand be? High enough so you can turn the page without bending over. It gets in your way. See, when you did this nice little gesture over the clarinet, you were hovering right above the stage. All right, how long should your baton be in relation to the length of your arm? So hold your arm up, right angle. Go take your baton out, put it in there. Or right angle, put your baton in there and see where it comes on. See where it comes on your knuckle? It should come to there. Use that. There should be a proportion from this joint, this hinge, and the length of the baton. So you have long arms, and you have that short baton. That doesn't work as well for you. All right, give me an adjective or a couple adjectives that describe this music, that are non-musical adjectives. Is that you? Because if it was you, you're forgetting dinner. I'm asking you that. Heavy, okay. What else? Jovial. Jovial like how jovial? Like, this is so much fun. Are you having a good time here? I am.
Well, it has like very fun. The characteristic of like a smirk.
Smirk. Ah! Yeah. Smirk, a little body maybe? A little schizophrenic? You're not schizophrenic. You gotta be schizophrenic. Where they going? Be schizophrenic. Don't be a conductor, be schizophrenic. Begin it. Would you look a little bit less like a really good conductor? Look more like a drunk Greek person? Okay, look how you're standing. That's not, no, you don't look like you're gonna spit upon us. There you go. No, you don't have to be, no, you really don't have to be woozy. You just have to be obnoxious. Kids or these little nice people that are saying, no, everything's fine, and you didn't look like everything. In fact, you ignored them both times. Don't ignore them. Right, now, take it out of your knees. I mean, occasionally you can dance to the music, but don't put your pulse in your knees because it makes your whole torso. You after they've gone, we're obnoxious trumpets, and what a great place to put obnoxiousness in. Go ahead. Yeah, that was better. Now don't get to the point where you're flailing. Zero in on it. Like, look at it. And I like that you started with 2 beats rather than 4 beats the second time. They didn't need all 4. They're ready to go. Why'd you ignore them after you brought them in?
Make sure everything else
You were checking the score. Yeah. You can't hide this. You can't cheat. You can't cheat because I know I've done this. I've done everything you've done. In spades. I've done it so many times. So I know all the cheats. Stay with them. Just set the mood for how they're supposed to sound against this obnoxiousness. Try it again. There's something else I can tell you. Should be a little bit more compact. Boom, 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 rather than, because that's like boom. Yeah. I know I said a drunken Greek. Maybe you shouldn't be quite as drunk. I'll let you keep going. Now you might want to say the trumpets a little less obnoxious. Because they're like, when I said obnoxious, they said, great, we don't have to play with any tone or anything. So, it has to have some sophisticated obnoxiousness. Like, this is a bad sound, this is a good sound, sorry, no. This is a bad sound, this is a good sound, you're kind of playing like this, where you want. not up here. Try it again. Let's start back at bar 7, second time. Bar 7, second time. Take your finger off the top of the stick and close it down. If you put it up on top, you'll have a tendency to conduct this way. Because if you have a double fulcrum, you're anchoring it in two spots. Just close it off. All right, then, again, a little lighter here. It doesn't look to me, and I know you've never been in front of this man, but it doesn't look like to me that you're communicating with them. It isn't that you're not conducting one. So I want you to actually communicate the changes and stuff. So can we go back, everybody? Bar 7, second time. So take the second in. Hold your knees still. One reason we hold our knees still is so we don't moon the audience. That's why men wear tails, because it covers our rear ends. You don't want to stick your rear end out at the audience ever. That was good. There was a little attention to the clarinet. What do you think about balance here? Were you listening? Or are you too worried about what I'm going to say next? Right. Protect the clarinet. She's only at mezzo forte. Protect her so she doesn't have to exceed that. 20, everybody. Now let's go 19. Bar 19, bar before 20. Now, did they play softly? Because you don't look imposing enough when you did that. You have to make a trumpet stick that they just ruined dinner. You know, send them to their room. Right? See? No, stop that! Or you'll go to your room! No, bassoon, I love that you play really loud. Don't! You can't just do this like, this means we're getting to a soft section. Good. This means stop messing up. Stop interfering with the clarinet solo. There's one that's a reaction, there's one that sets it up. So you need to react to that. Now they're not going to play loud at all because I'm scared of them. Start there again. That was good. It didn't look like you meant it. 19, everybody. Can we do something non-conducting when they actually set off the siren? Right? When this comes in, you just went, "Hi, I'm Aaron. I like you, you like me." Do something non-conducting when it comes in. You don't have to keep this going. They've got time down. Do something that shows that all of a sudden this alarm goes off. One more time. 19. Good posture still. We kind of stand, legs should be shoulder width. Now that is, you never say never in conducting, and you use basketball feet. You move 1 foot at a time. Never 2 feet. So, get your weight centered to start with. There you go. I want you to play exactly how she's conducting. Erin is a little bit of a Clark Kent. And I need you to go into the closet and change into your Superman costume and jump out the window. Same spot? Like what she does. I'll kind of buy that. Now do it as a non-conducting gesture. All you did was conduct bigger and harder in 4/4. And purse your lips. I want you to do something different that's a non-conducting gesture. Come out of your comfort zone. Bernstein in a little bit. A cross between Leonard Bernstein and Jerry Lewis. You probably don't know either. Except what beats is he playing on? Or she? Sorry, he. Well, I just wasn't looking back there. Sorry. Right, so could you make 1 and 3 bigger? Here we go. And having him try to find and go, 1, 3, 1, 3, then, boom. Don't just be clean.
Okay.
Your tempo's great. All right, we're at the fermata. Second inning fermata. Go on. Don't wait that long for approval. No, you're not. Count 2 before 45. I'm glad. 2 before 45? Where do they need you? Did you just listen? I mean, they thought I was stopping. But here's where they need you. Right? Because of this thing's really measured. So get this started, have fun with it, then get out of their way. Then go to Monty Metronome and really set this up at the end. Everybody, 2 before 45. So set this up, get out of the way, let them just play here, and then set up that ending. Look like the last 3 notes, rather than you ran out of measures to conduct. And it doesn't have to be 3, 4, 1. It could be anything. 3 big beats, right? Yeah, just lay into 4. See, that's the problem. You did that a little late. One more time, everybody, and then we'll have to stop. The last time, and look more like the ending. Yeah, we got to go on. Hey, everybody, thank Aaron. By the way, what I love about this profession, come on up, Brendan. What I love about this profession now, and it wasn't this way when I was in school, is that and Jackie, don't start shooting stuff at me until I finish saying this. Back when I was in school, it was like, there are girl conductors and guy conductors. And it's so refreshing to see that there are only really 2 types of conductors, good conductors and bad conductors. It has nothing to do with gender. I found that, I mean, sometimes, obviously, in a situation where there may be more males than females in an ensemble, there has to be presence and confidence that has to be exuded by the conductor. And sometimes women maybe have to work on that more than men. The other side is that men are not very, especially young men, are not very eager to share their emotions with an ensemble as women. Some of the best conductors I've ever taught have been women. And I always like to say this: who wrote the greatest conducting book on the planet? Elizabeth Green, a woman. Who was the greatest composition teacher on the planet? Nadia Boulanger, a woman. Hello? So this gender inequality in band and in higher education and all like this is crazy. It's crazy. And I was really happy that Aaron went first to just disprove all the gender garbage that still goes around out there. There are only 2 types of conductors, good ones and bad ones. And I appreciate Aaron for leading us off. Brandon.